Hello, everyone. I'm Professor Arash Rafii. I want to present to you our project called ScieNFT, which is basically trying to change the current paradigm in scientific publishing. So the first thing that I want to really underline is that there's many pain points in science, and one of the most troublesome pain point is really basically the scientific communication and publication. So basically, the whole publication system is completely broken, and I get to that. That has consequences for research funding. That has tremendous consequences for access to research, not only for researchers, but for early citizens. So an individual that's a normal citizen cannot read science because they cannot subscribe to all the journals. And that also entails issue with intellectual property, reproducibility, and replicability of data that is very low. And then we transform the scientists into competitors instead of collaborators, and that doesn't make any sense. And that's what we want to kind of completely change. And I'm going to kind of show you what we think is the status right now and how we want to change that. So the DeSci is a very big movement right now, and trying to tackle every aspect of scientific process, from funding to publishing to reviewing to sharing data, etc., and to patient care, as Hosna just presented before me brilliantly. And I do believe that DeSci is probably the future of how science is going to work. What is our mission at ScieNFT? And that should be the mission of many companies, and I would really advocate for all of them. You know, all the platforms that are trying to do that should be promoted equally, and everybody should use them equally. So what we want is enable researcher educators to instantly publish their knowledge. So you don't have to ask the permission from an editorial board or reviewer to publish. Any scientist should be able to freely publish whatever they want, whenever they want, as long as they consider it worth sharing with the community. At the same time, we do think that people should have access to this material for free. And if we generate revenue from it, it should be reverted back to the people that created the content, obviously, exactly like most social media platforms do. So as a researcher, publish whatever you want. As a reader, read whatever you want. And the interaction should only benefit the creators of basically the scientific assets. What is the state of the union, or what is the current status? Elsevier benefits last year was 3.5 billion. It's basically based on researchers' work, researchers who review, researchers who edit, and researchers who pay subscription. How much they give back to the community? Absolutely zero. Zero for the researchers who did the work, and absolutely zero for people, for labs and their institutions. So it's a completely extractive economy, which basically benefits from the work of passionate people for absolutely no benefit for them. And I don't want to go into everybody, all the scientists know the editorial process is very long. You revise one, you get rejected. Most rejections don't make sense. You revise another one, you go to another journal, etc. And all these journals have created sub-journals that forces you, now people are happy to have a nature communication, but just a way to keep you in an ecosystem and to get you to pay subscription. The format itself is not adapted anymore. We're going way faster at discovering things. So these long intros about diabetes is bad or cancer is bad, it don't really make sense at the era of AI, when writing text is not so valuable anymore. Really, most of the time, the methods are not really sharing the data, so people cannot reproduce what's happening. And discussion is really like useless, I think, in the era now. And it would be way more useful to have a completely new format of papers, when you kind of say, hey, I wanted to prove that this is what I've done. Here is the data that everybody can analyze. Here's what we found. And that is what we need to go further. And maybe I, as a collaborator, can say, hey, I have that piece of data, and let's move on faster. So the goal is really to kind of understand how we can accelerate scientific production worldwide. So what is our real goal as scientists? We want to share science. We want science to be shared. We want to communicate. We want to have a scientific dialogue with our colleagues and other people that are interested. We want to have better scientific experimentation. We want to get funded, and we want to attract smart people to in our labs and in our research projects. And that's really the goal that we have. And we never, as scientists, our goal is not to get impact factor, is not to have prestige, and not to get great LinkedIn posts. So we should refocus our interest in our passion for science and research, and really think how the publishing system has completely destroyed that passion that we might have. So this is for example, a status quo. In Cell, most of the papers, so 75% of the papers are not open access. So that's one of the best journals. And besides you and I not being able to read that, it's even horrifying to think that all the AI tools that we have cannot access the papers behind paywalls. That's why ChatGPT, for example, is not very good for science, because all the papers that are protected by paywalls cannot be accessed. So the most powerful tool that we have now that could help us discover a lot of stuff cannot access the data that scientists have. And it's not that scientists don't want to share. If you ask the scientists who publish this paper to share, they will send you their PDF right away. Is that the way the system is set up is not meant for sharing. $10,000 to publish a paper. I don't even want to talk about how much it costs to read it. And 6 months between submission and acceptance and publication. So more than 6 months in Cell. So basically, your data is in a no man's land where nobody can access it, nobody can read it. So how we change that? So basically, paywalls, it's too slow, it's unfair, and I'm very sensitive to that. I'm from originally from Iran, but I did my education in France and graduated in France. But I understand a lot of countries in Asia, in Africa, in South America, where I traveled as a doctor, do humanitarian help, don't have access to journals. So now the diffusion of science is extremely unfair in the world, and we have to kind of, as scientists, that should be our mission, to provide knowledge to everyone that's willing or seeking to get knowledge. I discussed already that. The issue, so it's a huge market, a lot of economy, $30 billion economy, that's not going back to any of the people that are producing that knowledge. And that's what we want to change. We want to give money back. We want to create. Research is valuable. Your work as a scientist is valuable. You should get something out of it, either personally for yourself, either for your lab, either for your institution. Doesn't really matter. But there is no way that you have such a huge economy that doesn't benefit the creator. I want to give you an example that's shocking. It is almost as big as music streaming. So you take scientific publishing is as big as Spotify or Apple Music, and the artists live of it, and we don't get anything out of it. And I'm not talking only personal money, but money that could be put in, funding PhDs, etc., etc. So what we created as ScieNFT, and I invite everybody to go on their website, to create a profile, and everybody who presented at the meeting can mine their presentation, so everybody can have access to this presentation and use them if they need to. All my presentations are on my website, and it's very cost effective. It's less than $1 to publish, and it goes through a token we created, and we give the token right now, so it's completely subsidized by us. It's immediate. When you press minting, it's minted in 2 minutes, and your publication is immediately available for everyone. It's stored on the blockchain, so it's decentralized storage, and so we don't control the storage of the assets. It's open access. Everybody will always be able to read your papers, and it's unbiased, and you can publish whatever you want, and the community will judge if it's good or not. And today we are preprint, so it doesn't prevent you to still publish in a normal journal. And I think there's going to be a period when we overlap between publishing in preprint servers like blockchain and normal journals. For myself, for example, I have stopped completely the publication system. All my students only publish in preprint, and I'm very happy of that. That's been the most positive changes I have done in my life the last 5 years. Whenever I think a paper is ready, I just send it there. And when I go to funding or fund resources, I very explicitly say that I am refusing to publish in any journal that has a subscription base, and that all the research is done open access. And it didn't prevent me from getting funded from like national institution, etc., etc. What do we accept? And that's also something we want to change. We are preprint, so anything that's almost ready. You can also put your previously published paper, in particular if they're behind paywall, that will allow people that can't access journals to read them, and you can put the original manuscript that you submitted. You own that manuscript, and everything else, lectures, presentation. We have 150 presentations now on the platform. Negative results. If you have an experiment that didn't work, why you don't share it so people can learn about it? A good lecture that you did, maybe share the slides so people can change the slides and they don't have to make the slides from scratch. And there's no good database for all these materials. Whatever you think that can accelerate scientific production. To create an NFT takes literally a few minutes. You put a title, an NFT title. You can add as many files as you want. You add creators. If they're already on the website, they appear automatically. If they're not on the website, they will get an invite. If you put their email, you assign a beneficiary. When the marketplace is going to be launched in a few weeks, the beneficiary will be the one getting the money from that. And then you just press mint, and it's minted in a few minutes, and that's how it looks like. It's really like a paper. You see who the authors are. You can put an image if you want to illustrate your real figure or whatever, if you want to illustrate your NFT. It can be cited with a unique DOI, which is basically the NFT hash. People can download the file. You see who the owner is, who the administrator is, because you might want to change the NFT later, and the beneficiary. And people can react to it. So you can see how the community react to it and comment. So you can invite your friends to comment or to review your paper. And what we want to encourage is community moderation rather than non-transparent review. I really believe in transparency and honesty. I can have a very good friend of mine, and he publishes a paper, and I can say, hey, I don't think that's a good paper, and it's completely fair. My relationship to my friends should not change my opinion about what they do and their work. And we think that might completely change the way we do science. Right now, it's too biased, and we never know why something is rejected. I want to also show some data. Peer review is not a guarantee of good research. That's a journal Brain, which is one of the best journals in neurological science. And they showed that basically the concordance between two reviewers in accepting a paper is 50%. So it's really like flipping a coin. If you send a paper to two reviewers, one is going to say yes, the other is going to say no. Doesn't mean much. The most prestigious journal go to 5 reviewers, but the opinion of 5 is not the opinion of few hundreds of people. And one of the things we do at ScieNFT, we assign key opinion leaders. So if you're really good in your field and you're a leader, we identify you as a key opinion leader. And one of the idea we have is that if you see a paper and you see all the key opinion leader in that field basically endorse that paper, it's a good paper. If they all raise red flags, it's not really a good paper. We have a side token. So the side token is a public token that everybody can mint on the mine on the Avalanche blockchain. We have a reserve of it that we give to creators. So everybody who's at the presentation, you're welcome to contact me through LinkedIn. And I'm happy to create a partnership with you. We're looking for our early adopters. We launched only like 3 months ago. And so we're really helping the first creators to create their assets, etc. And we hope it's going to be like a Bitcoin for science, and it's going to represent the value of science. And I hope that the early adopters who help us ramp up this project will benefit from the economy that we generate from it. So right now you can publish, you can soon list your NFT on a marketplace. We also have an AI module that you can use to improve your paper that based on ChatGPT. You don't have to subscribe to ChatGPT. We do the subscription for you, and we give you tokens so you can use ChatGPT through our things. And our goal is obviously to reward creators and their institutions. What is the goal? What can you sell? You can then sell your NFT as a different way. The first thing that you can sell basically is a collectible. You've done some research on breast cancer. I'm sensitive to that research, and I just go buy it as a way to show my appreciation for your effort, for your lab. And you don't selling any copyrights or anything. You're really selling a collectible. And there are people that are interested in buying research artifact. That was something that was sold by Berkeley University for $50,000. So who knows if maybe you're going to be the next guy famous for selling a research NFT. You can embed IP and patents. So when you have a patent, you could actually publish your patent on ScieNFT and say, hey, I have an IP or patent for that. And here's what I can communicate about it. Or you can say, if you buy the NFT for this amount, you get the right to use the patent or license that technology for a year or two. Obviously, that will require some real life interaction in terms of agreement, legalities. But we think that on the long term, IP NFTs are going to replace the patent offices. You can sell copyright. So let's say, and that's something I really hope will happen to change the game. So instead of you paying the journal to publish, you can tell the journals, hey, here's my paper. If you want it, you can buy the NFT, and the journal who buys the NFT owns the copyright. And that can really create like momentum for the best labs and the best research papers. They can be exchanged many times among journal or dealers. And you can imagine that that generates revenue for you and for your institution. And finally, you can use a platform to do crowdfunding. For example, you can do 100 NFTs as $1,000 and sell them to your community that's maybe interested by that research, and basically try to raise funds for your research. So we are a little bit more than 4 months now after launch. We have more than 400 scientists, around 400 NFTs. We are now putting a lot of NFTs from open source data like medRxiv, bioRxiv. So you can put presentation. And so I really we need the support of the community. It's been very hard. I'm very hard because researchers have been so much brainwashed by the publishing system that they believe in something that's completely artificial. We don't need the publisher to perform good research, publish. You can put everything on open source platform and be happy with it. And you don't need the false validation of impact factors for people to see if you're a good researcher or not. So it's a very highly conservative field. The impact factor and the citation index are overvalued, and people don't really read research. Journal are the brand instead of researcher are being the brand. I would like to know who the best researchers are instead of knowing who the best journals are. And the tools are there for 20 years. You can publish for free on Twitter, on LinkedIn, or whatever, but people don't use them. So there needs to be a big change of mentality. And I hope that people after the meeting will reach out to me, and we can start onboarding them on the platform. Decide we want to build with you guys. We don't want to build alone. And so we did a very first primary product, and the other feature, we're going to add them as we go. We're going to give you voting rights on the platform based on the token that you have. So major decision on the platform will be put to vote by the people. And I think we are really aligned with the desires of scientists. And I think the publish and perish paradigm should go away. It's a negative paradigm. We are all creators. Scientists are like artists, and they should be rewarded as artists, and they should be considered in society as artists. We have an amazing scientific board that help us developing that from every background and every country. So I'm very grateful to them. And I really think that ubiquitous access to scientific knowledge will be the major advancement for human progress and tolerance, and a better humanity for tomorrow. Thank you very much.